Hello guys and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to talk about how to optimize the RTX 3070 Ti for Warzone 2, okay? Keep in mind that this video is not an optimization video for Warzone 2 across all the GPUs. I'm only doing this video because I spent so much time in the settings and trying to overclock things and try to get my hardware straight for the game that I actually end up upgrading my hardware, okay? I'm talking to you because after trial and error I found out that these settings that I'm about to give to you will give you the most optimal performance out of the 3070 Ti, okay, exclusively. I'm only talking about this GPU because that's the GPU I own and the presets I tested are on this GPU, as well as the settings, the MSI Afterburner settings that I will give to you later, and of course the in-game settings. This might work in other graphics cards, but I'm only doing this video for the RTX 3070 Ti users because, like me, they must have spent so much time in settings that is actually getting annoying because this game is an unoptimized mess. But we are here to solve that as long as you have a CPU to keep up with the GPU, okay? I recently had a Ryzen 7 3700X, and I found that CPU was bottlenecking Warzone 2 big time, okay? I think people in general have no idea how CPU heavy this game is, and most people are likely getting CPU build without even knowing it, and maybe buying better graphics cards and not clearly seeing the problem that is most likely the CPU, because I got mates of mine running the game at 120 FPS with GTX 1060 as a graphics card with almost 10 years, because they have a CPU that can keep up with the FPSs, okay? So the CPU that I'm testing with is my own CPU, the Ryzen 5 5800X 3D, a monster, but this doesn't mean that with your CPU this won't work as well. You are the one who must check it out during my video. I will tell you how to basically check if your CPU bottlenecked in the game. It's a pretty straightforward process, and I got no problem showing you that, okay? Because you will get results with my settings, the NVIDIA settings, the MSI Afterburner settings, the in-game settings, if you have a CPU that actually can keep up with the RTX 3070 Ti in this game, okay? So first things first, I'm going to take you my NVIDIA control panel. This is a no-brainer. Every gamer that you come across in YouTube, every competitive gamer that actually tunes the PC has this control panel, okay? The control panel should be looking like this, because as a competitive gamer we do not want graphism. We want it to a certain degree, but we prefer performance and not visual noise, okay? We actually want to avoid visual noise in the game so we can get the kills that we want to kill, and do not get confused in the middle of the fight with explosions, with all kinds of visual effects, okay? So this is my NVIDIA control panel. You just gotta sync these settings with your NVIDIA control panel and click apply, and you'll be ready to go. Okay, just one extra tip. I found that the in-game color is kind of poor, especially in those dark places when you're trying to kill them inside of dark corners near houses or small dark rooms. I found that I wasn't seeing the enemies at all, so I came across this NVIDIA control panel desktop color settings and I tried some things out. This is the settings that I'm using right now. I advise you to try these settings, but there's one slight problem with them. Changing these values will also change the color in your desktop menu, okay? So the colors in Windows might become a little strange at most, okay? Some colors will be like really vibrant and weird when you're watching some video on YouTube and doing some other stuff on the PC, but you can actually just turn this on when you're about to game, okay? The standard values are 50 for every setting that you see that I changed. You may just up the digital vibrance when you're about to play, up the contrast when you're about to play, up the brightness a little bit, and then when you come out of the game you just reset to the default values and you'll be ready to go. I use the PC mostly for gaming, so I don't really care about this, so I just leave it on all the time. Just try these settings, you'll notice a massive difference in game, okay, visually related. that's actually going to improve your gameplay. It's a no-brainer, just try it out, you will not regret it. Okay, next thing, I'm going to show you my MSI Afterburner panel and settings. Okay, alright guys, what you're seeing here is MSI Afterburner. This is the software that I use to undervolt, underclock and overclock my graphics card. I'm going to show you two profiles. One profile that is underclocked and undervolted, and one profile that is undervolted and overclocked. Okay, these two profiles have two different uses, or had to me at least in the past. Okay, my profile one is an undervolt and an underclock. I did this profile because I was playing with a CPU, a much weaker CPU, that wasn't being able to keep up with my GPU in game. Specifically Warzone 2, okay, I'm talking specifically Warzone 2, since my CPU did just fine in other games. With this said, I have the curve editor right here, so you guys can copy. All you have to do is copy the values and put it on your own MSI Afterburner, then click apply and you'll be ready to go. Okay, this is a profile that I advise to people that, like me in the past, are being CPU bounded in Warzone 2 at the moment. Okay, this will not give you more FPSs if you are having a CPU bottleneck, but it will at least give more health to your graphics card, since it will be functioning at lower temps and lower voltages. Okay, now the second profile that I want to show you is my overclock and undervolt profile. When I upgraded my CPU, I didn't really did much to my GPU. Okay, I pretty much played with it in this profile, but then I noticed that my CPU was no longer keeping me at bay, so I knew that if I continued to push my GPU to the limits, I would get continuously more FPSs. And then I tried this slight overclock and undervolt setting. I found that it actually improved my FPSs like 30 or 40, and they are also more stable. Okay, I don't get those massive drops that you see when you're playing at like 140s and suddenly you go to 90 FPSs, or when I'm like playing, I don't know, at 200 FPSs, and then I suddenly drop to 120 and then right back up. Okay, if you're in the middle of a fight, this will actually impact your game in a huge way. Okay, so this profile is better for guys like me at the moment, are not CPU bound but GPU bound, which is what we actually want to happen in games. Okay, we want to be GPU bound. We want to be able to tune the in-game settings and to actually see results in game. With the CPU bound cases, it's actually more difficult to do that, because no matter what graphics you tune, no matter what settings you change, if you're CPU bound, you will be CPU bound no matter what graphic settings you use. So that is why many of you guys, as I've seen, and this is the reason I'm doing the video, not for likes, not for comments, not for subscribes, because I'm no YouTuber, but to try to reach out to people that, like me, are spending 2-3 hours a day, that they could be playing, they could be having fun, tweaking the settings day after day in the hopes that they get better results. One day they get better, the other day the game is wrecked again. It's an unoptimized mess, and you actually can't do much if you don't have the hardware for it. Okay, so this second profile is for people that, like me, are not CPU bound and can actually push the limits of their GPU to achieve better FPSs. I'm proceeding now to show you the curve, and once again, all you have to do is copy the values, paste it on your MSI Afterburner, and then check the other values like memory megahertz and click apply. Alright guys, now I'm going to take you through my in-game settings as well as a in-game benchmark, so you guys have an idea of how the benchmark in-game should look, what you should try to mimic it as close as possible, so you won't get any CPU bottlenecking your GPU. Okay, all you have to do with the settings is to copy them, apply them in your PC, and then we will wait for the results in-game. As you can see here, I use full screen explosive. Of course, it gives an FPS boost. It would be dumb if you weren't using that. In quality tab, everything is pretty straightforward, no visual noise at all. These are competitive settings. Every competitive player that you come across will have something like this, okay? I tweak this much. I change settings every day, small things of course, so I don't want to ruin all the work I had putting this game as it should be. But yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to take you through this benchmark so you guys have an idea how it should look. So guys, just a quick look at the benchmark results before we drop in Almazra to test the settings. This is how your benchmark should be looking when you are trying to optimize your graphics card for Warzone, okay? You don't want to have any bottleneck in the CPU. This will allow the GPU to work at 100% while in game and produce the maximum frame rate that's possible, okay? Anything that stands after 5% in this value, it's a reason to concern, and you'll be losing performance in your GPU because your CPU cannot keep up. As you see, that's not the case. I advise you that if you have this benchmark in your game, if you're a Modern Warfare 2 owner, I advise you to do this benchmark because it doesn't tell the whole picture, but it tells something that at least gives us a picture of what's going on in our computer. So try it out and check the results. This is what you want. You do not want this specifically. You can have it lower, you can have higher. You just want these values and these values to look like this. More FPS on the CPU and no bottleneck on the CPU. Alright guys, last but not least, I'm going to take you through a quick 1 minute drop in Almazra so you guys can see the settings and its effects. As you can see, I'm now rocking 220, 230 FPS while in the air. It will pretty much stay the same when I drop. Keep in mind that I'm actually recording with OBS, so I'm losing about 30 to 40 FPS. So you should head to that number that you'll see on the screen. Okay, guys, I hope my video was useful to you. One quick thing is that if you don't see results while you're in game, after applying my settings, my NVIDIA control settings panel, my MSI afterburner settings, and my in-game settings, you should do the following. Just go back to your graphics settings in the game, change everything to the preset extreme, then you enter a game, check your FPSs, get out of the game, change to the preset ultra, check your FPSs, get out of the game, go back to the graphics settings, put in balanced preset, check your FPSs. If you do not see any difference between presets in your FPSs, what I'm trying to say is that if you do not see an FPS increase while you lower your graphics settings in game, your CPU bottlenecked, and I'm trying to advise you to just stop losing time in settings because it won't change that much, and you'll be better off upgrading to a better CPU if you can, or just play the game as it is, because it will be only frustrating to you to be spending that much time watching YouTube videos on how to optimize the game, how to put more FPS when it's just not possible with your hardware, okay? I think people fail to realize how heavy this game is on the CPU, and that you actually have to have a great CPU to pair with a great graphics card to run it smoothly. Guys, I hope you liked the video. It's my first video, probably only video. I only did this to help my fellow gamers with a similar setup like mine, because I've already lost my mind too many times trying to put the FPSs on this game, and I didn't succeed after I upgraded my hardware. But now that I have the hardware, I find that these are the best settings for the 3070 Ti as a graphics card, while being paired with a competent CPU. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like the content, comment and subscribe. Peace.